Disclaimer: the Pokémon anime is owned by ShowPro, who blocked the original upload of this video, which is why all the video now is shown in screenshot format. Please excuse the poor quality, and if you have a problem with it, blame ShowPro for not considering fair use. Now, on to the review. Hello everyone, I know it's been like 5 months since my last upload, but I'm back to talk about one of my favorite franchises in the world, Pokémon. As a child, I absolutely adored anything Pokémon. I pretty much played the living hell out of the games. However, something that I never really got into was the Pokémon anime. I watched episodes here and there, but to keep up with the series that long is so hard. But as I got older, I eventually started to look at the things I like in a more critical lens, and that includes Pokémon. It feels as if the anime series has been going on for the duration of my entire life. There's no way I'm gonna keep up with it at this point.
Bruh.
But what I do keep up with is the Pokémon movies that get released periodically. Unfortunately, as more and more Pokémon movies got released, they really started to get worse and worse. The movie Pokémon I Choose You is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I Choose You is such a shit movie that it fails as both a movie as well as a Pokémon movie. I remember really disliking this movie when I first saw it, so I decided to give it a rewatching to see how I feel about it now. Yeah, it still sucks. There are lots of problems, so this is going to be a fun one to get into. Anyway, what's up guys, I am xExotic, and here is why Pokémon I Choose You is an awful movie. Released back in 2017, this movie is made to be a retelling of the story of the Pokémon anime. Specifically the story of Ash Ketchum and his partner Pokemon Pikachu at the start of their adventure in the Kanto region. The movie begins retelling episode 1 from the anime, where Ash meets Pikachu, fights against Spearow, the two become friends, and see the legendary Pokemon Ho-Oh. The main difference is that this time, Ho-Oh gives them a Rainbow Wing, and the Rainbow Wing will become an item that kickstarts Ash's goal in the film. Now the plot does divert from the anime story while still taking some key moments from it. For example, Verity and Sorrel are two brand new characters introduced for this movie, but Ash releasing his Butterfree is a scene that directly comes from the anime. Of course, I will be going over all these aspects, mostly complaining about the majority of scenes in the movie. But before I go into why I Choose You is awful, let me go over the good things in this movie. Yes, believe it or not, there are some aspects that this movie gets right. Probably the biggest positive I can say is how the friendship between Ash and Pikachu was handled. Throughout the film, I really felt as if these two characters actually cared for each other. You can see their bond grow as the film goes on, and it almost feels realistic how close they are. One of the other things that I thought was notable was a scene where Ash meets Charmander. In the movie, Ash comes across an abandoned Charmander in the rain, patiently waiting for his trainer to return. That trainer actually does come back, but refuses to keep Charmander because he's weak. His name is Cross, and he is the antagonist for this film. I'll get more into him later. Anyway, Ash gets really defensive and angry with how Cross treats Charmander. This is a character trait that has been attached to Ash since the beginning of the series. He really loves Pokemon and prefers to make friends with them rather than to selectively pick only strong ones. So seeing Cross abuse Charmander really makes Ash upset, since it is the opposite of what he values as a trainer. This is good character development for Ash, as we get to see what kind of a person he is and how he would react to a situation like this. His role in that scene was really good. Speaking of Charmander, he really does get a chance to shine in this movie. Charmander decides to go with Ash after he helps him recover from the rain, and throughout the movie he grows stronger and evolves. This brings positive growth for both parties involved. For Charmander, he gets to prove that he's not weak, and for Ash, it validates his personal philosophy on Pokemon, that building friendships is more important than becoming stronger. Another thing that I liked is the character of Verity, Ash's new traveling companion. While I do think that there are problems with this character, which I'll get into later, something that this movie does do right is making her and Ash have good interactions because they are very alike. They both have similar personalities and are new trainers who come across as inexperienced. Honestly, if Pokemon had the balls to reboot the entire series and have Verity as the lead, I think it could work since she and Ash have a lot of room to grow together. Personally, I would find it interesting in which direction her character would go, as her backstory leaves a lot of room for future ideas. Other than that, I thought the art style and animation was really good. This movie came out during the run of the Sun and Moon anime, where the characters' designs and animation style shifted drastically from what it was previously. I'm glad they decided to go back to a more traditional look instead of the new style. And yeah, that's it. No, that's literally it. There's nothing else good about this film. As you may have noticed, I had a lot of issues with this film. Honestly, if I were to go over everything in detail, this video would go on forever. I'm not joking. So instead, I'm only going to be talking about the major flaws that I feel really hurt the film. Starting with character issues. Let's begin by going over the characters. This movie handles its characters so poorly. The first one I want to go over is Team Rocket because their inclusion in the film is completely pointless. They're only there because, like I said, I Choose You just has to include elements from the anime. Team Rocket doesn't even interact with Ash at all. They have no impact on the story. They add absolutely nothing to it. The next character is Sorel. He is a kid from Sinnoh with the Lucario as his partner Pokemon. His goal is to become a professor and wants to study legendary Pokemon, so it makes sense why he would want to join up with Ash. His backstory is that as a child, he got stuck in a snowstorm and his Luxray ended up freezing to death protecting him. Honestly, this is pretty dark for Pokemon. Not to say that it's bad, but it feels really out of place since the story is pretty lighthearted. Anyway, Sorel mentions that because of what happened, he had a hard time making friends with Pokemon until he met Lucario. The issue here is that Sorel's backstory is loosely connected to his desire to become a professor and research legendary Pokemon. I want to know his motivation behind his goal, and it's not explained at all. I will say, I am not the biggest fan of Sorel. His purpose and role in the story is to lead the group in the right direction and dump exposition. Seriously, he does not really contribute that much outside of those two things. It confuses me why this character is so underutilized. He could have played a much bigger role. If I were to change the script, I would have had Sorel play a part in confronting the antagonist, Cross. Cross does not value friendship since he believes that it makes Pokemon weak. Sorel could have challenged Cross's belief since Sorel owns a Lucario. You see, Lucario is the evolved form of Riolu. In order for Riolu to evolve, it needs to have a high friendship with its trainer. This would mean friendship actually makes Pokemon stronger, not weaker, thus perfectly debunking Cross's belief. At the end of the movie, Cross seems to have learned his mistake and grown from his experience. This would have been so much more believable if Sorel was able to make Cross realize that his ideology is wrong. As for Cross, he really does come across as a one-dimensional antagonist for the film. He is the generic bad guy who thinks that only strength matters. It's later revealed that Cross had met Ho-Oh previously, but wasn't given a Rainbow Wing despite doing what he can to become a stronger trainer. Unfortunately, there isn't much to say about his past. We don't know why Cross is so fixated on strength, since from his encounter with Ho-Oh, he should have realized that there was more to battling than what he initially thought. He probably didn't need Ash to explain it to him. Just like the other characters, I felt as if Cross could have been a much better character. His belief and actions are in direct contrast to Ash. Cross should have been not just a rival for Ash, but someone who can challenge him on an intellectual level. When Cross and Ash first battle, Cross wins. This moment is great as he is able to get Ash to doubt his own outlook on Pokemon, but there isn't much depth to his character other than being a foil for the protagonist. Cross eventually realizes he was wrong once he figures out that he does care for his own Pokemon, but he was never challenged in his beliefs, which is something that I think should have definitely happened. Easily the best character in this movie is Ash Ketchum, but even he still has his problems. As I said before, the battle between Ash and Cross should have meant much more than just a rival fight. This was an opportunity to have these two characters challenge each other's values and ideologies. Is strength really the key to winning, or does building friendships matter more? This is really important since Ash gets extremely emotional after losing to Cross. He gets so frustrated that he even says that he would have won if Pikachu battled instead of Charmeleon, essentially calling Charmeleon weak and blaming him for losing the battle with Cross. Out of frustration, he later tells Pikachu that he wishes that he never had gotten him as his partner. His feelings come across as very childish, since the reason why he is so upset is mainly just because he lost the battle. And yes, I do know that Ash literally is a child, but I still found this to be completely out of character for him. For reference, in the anime, Ash also does sometimes get upset after a loss, but it's usually because he feels as if he let his Pokemon down, not him getting mad and blaming them. This should have been translated into the movie, but isn't. Instead, his reasoning makes him look like a bad person, and that's not what he's supposed to be. In actuality, Ash should have been upset for multiple different reasons. The first being that, of course, his beliefs were proven wrong by losing to Cross. Remember, Charmeleon was called weak by Cross, and he had the opportunity to prove him wrong, but he ended up losing. Ash should have felt responsible as a trainer for letting his Pokemon down when it mattered the most, but of course, that's not what happened. Alright, you may have realized that I haven't spoken about Verity yet, and that's because there is so much to say. Do you remember before how I was praising Verity's character for having a lot of potential despite having problems? Well, the problems stem from how her backstory is handled. She is the daughter of a famous Pokemon trainer, and Verity is unable to live up to her mother's expectations. Verity is from the Sinnoh region, but decided to leave home to be in the Kanto region, and the two haven't spoken since she left. She has an interesting backstory, but there are two things that ruin it. The first thing is that her backstory never really gets expanded on. I wanted to know what events happened that led her to leave home. Who is her mother? What is she like? And how bad was their relationship? This is so important, as it is a main factor as to why Verity not only decided to leave home, but start her adventure in an entirely different region. The second problem is that she has no goal. I know this is obvious, but when writing a character, they need to have some sort of goal in mind, even if it's something simple. For example, Ash's goal has always been to become a Pokemon Master. Now, what defines a Pokemon Master? I don't really know, but that's what his goal is. Verity has no goal. Why is she on her Pokemon journey? Is it to become stronger? To prove her mother wrong? Or is it just an excuse to leave home? I can't really say, and these problems are so big that I think they ruin the entire character. Honestly, it's a real shame. This character has so much wasted potential. I mentioned that she could fit well into a series, and I still stand by that. Her goal could actually be to find a goal. I'm thinking she could have been more like Killua from Hunter x Hunter, where for the majority of the show, he has no real objective of his own. Instead, Killua has gone around helping him with his goal, since he really doesn't have anything else to do. Honestly, Verity and Killua are quite similar, well, minus the fact that Killua is an assassin. They're both kids who have family issues, so they leave home to find some other purpose for themselves. There they gain a new friend and decide to travel with them, and along the way, they discover what they want for themselves. Except Verity never realizes what she wants. She could have been really great. The foundation for a well-developed character is there, but I Choose You decides to do nothing with her. At the end of the movie, Verity even decides to go back home to her mother because she's homesick. This decision makes me question her reasoning for leaving home to begin with. It would have made much more sense if she stayed with Ash in order to gain whatever she was missing. Verity returning home just like that actually makes her journey completely pointless. And the worst part is that Cross, Sorrel, and Verity will probably never return. Their absence from the series ensures me that their characters are done with, never to be further developed. Whew, well, that was a lot, wasn't it? Unfortunately, that was just the beginning. All of that was just me covering the issues with the characters. I haven't even started on the problems with the plot. I decided to start off talking about the characters first because I know a lot of the time, our willingness to like a show usually depends on how much we care about the characters. If we don't care about them, or they're so poorly written, it makes it difficult to care about the story and the situations they get into. That being said, the plot. Oh boy, where do I even begin? Just like the characters, there are so many problems with the plot. Well then, the first major issue I have with I Choose You's story is the pacing. This film has a decent start, but as soon as the goal of finding Ho is realized, the pacing goes insanely fast. This is because the film decides to take story elements from the anime and sloppily forces them into the movie. The best example of this is seen with Caterpie. You see, during the opening montage, Ash caught a Caterpie, something that also takes place in the anime. Caterpie is involved a lot during the anime. We get to see him evolve into a Butterfree and become a valuable friend to Ash and his team. In a later episode, Butterfree meets a female and is conflicted about having to choose between leaving with her or staying with his friends. Ultimately, Ash tells Butterfree to be happy with her, and he leaves. This is a very emotional scene, not just for Ash and Butterfree, but also for the audience, since a character we have known for so long is going away. I Choose You tries and fails to replicate this moment in the film. Caterpie's evolution into a Metapod and then a Butterfree is so rushed, and it feels like it's only there because they have a checklist of moments they need to recapture. Almost immediately after evolving to a Butterfree, it's now time to recreate that scene where he leaves just like in the anime. Only this time there is no emotional weight to the scene. The reason why this scene doesn't work is due to the amount of screen time Caterpie gets in the movie. We spend so little time with him, it's hard to even care about Caterpie or the fact that he is going to leave once he evolves. Ash only has 3 Pokemon in the movie. It's stupid how the writers were not able to balance out the time spent with each of them. They should have not even decided to recreate that moment at all, and honestly this movie would have been better if it wouldn't rely on moments from the anime, but instead told a more original story. Okay, let's move on to the main focus, that being the Rainbow Wing and the Rainbow Hero. So here's what the film says regarding those two concepts. The Rainbow Wing is an item dropped by Ho-Oh to help guide trainers to the Rainbow Rock so they can summon it. Only good people can possess the wing. If someone evil were to even hold it, then it would lose its color, and the intended owner of the Rainbow Wing is called the Rainbow Hero. Alright, so here's what I do not understand, and the film does not answer any of my questions. The biggest question I had was why Ho-Oh even gives out Rainbow Wings, and why to Ash? Ash goes on this journey to challenge Ho-Oh to a battle, but what does Ho-Oh want from this encounter? Does it just want to battle, or does it want to be captured? If it does just want to battle, then why would Ho-Oh pick Ash? Ash literally started his adventure when Ho-Oh gave him the wing. At that point, he isn't strong enough to be a challenge for Ho-Oh. And even when they finally reach Ho-Oh, Ash is still a rookie trainer who is no match for him. Why would Ho-Oh want to battle someone like that? It's also explained that the team's encounters with Entei, Suicune, and Raikou are not coincidental. They are there to make sure that Ash is suited to be the Rainbow Hero. There is so much emphasis on being the Rainbow Hero. I find it weird that Ho-Oh goes through so much effort picking someone worthy and making sure they remain worthy just to battle them. It would make sense if Ho-Oh was instead looking for a worthy trainer to capture it. In that case, it would make sense why Ash was picked. Against the Spearow and throughout the movie, Ash clearly demonstrates his care for Pokemon. Maybe Ho-Oh saw this and deemed him worthy, and so gave him an opportunity to prove himself. It makes sense, but nowhere in the movie does the idea of catching Ho-Oh come up. Ho-Oh doesn't even seem to be acting like it wants to be captured anyway. It's pretty hard to understand Ho-Oh's motivations, and the movie doesn't communicate them well either. Also, this may just be a nitpick, but why is the carrier of the Rainbow Wing called a Rainbow Hero? Do the carriers have to be heroic in order to be chosen by Ho-Oh? If not, then by being a Rainbow Hero, are you destined to be heroic? Does fighting Ho-Oh make you a hero? It's just the naming, it's weird. There is also one other aspect of the Rainbow Hero, and that's having Marshadow be a guide. It acts within the shadows, making sure that the Rainbow Wing doesn't lose its color. This is seen when Ash starts to get angry and the colors start fading. Marshadow corrects it by helping Ash come to his senses by realizing his mistake. It also attacks Cross and tries to fix the wing after it loses its color. However, Marshadow takes things even further and uses the wing to control nearby Pokemon to attack everyone. This results in Ash dying. Yes, I'm serious. Ash gets murdered by the wild Pokemon. Once again, there is something in this movie that doesn't make sense. Firstly, why the hell is Marshadow attacking everyone? Its job, as stated in the movie, is to fix the wing if it loses its color. It makes sense why it would attack Cross, since he takes the Rainbow Wing by force and corrupts it. But then it goes and controls other Pokemon as well. So in the movie, it's explained that it's the wing. It's corrupting Marshadow, making him evil. But if it's Marshadow's job to fix the wing, how does it not know that touching a corrupted wing will result in himself being corrupted? I'd also like to point out that the corrupt Rainbow Wing can literally control other Pokemon. Like what? How powerful is the wing? Can it just do anything that the plot demands it to? Well, it's powerful enough to control other Pokemon to kill Ash. And yeah, let's go over Ash's death. The wild Pokemon surround Ash and Pikachu, and this results in Ash protecting Pikachu, dying in the process. This death scene is bizarre. This entire scene is so confusing, but I'll try and explain it the best way I can. So, instead of just dying, Ash's body starts to fade away somehow. As Ash's body completely fades away, he becomes a ghost in the afterlife. Somehow, Ash, despite being dead, is able to connect with Pikachu, who is still alive and in another plane of existence. Because of this connection they share, Ash runs towards the voice of Pikachu, and a portal starts to open up. As he gets closer, the portal becomes more clear and grows larger. And yes, this is definitely a portal. Pikachu literally jumps into the afterlife portal, and the other characters see and react to this happening. As Ash and Pikachu meet, Ash is then revived and brought back into the living world. I'm not sure what to even say about the scene. It just doesn't make any sense how this is even possible. It raises more questions on how death and resurrection work in the world of Pokemon. So let me get this straight. Sorrel's Luxray died by freezing to death, but Ash is able to be resurrected after getting killed by wild Pokemon? It's like the movie doesn't even want to stay consistent about how death works. And to be fair, death isn't that hard of a concept to understand. Once you're dead and you can no longer exist. It made sense for Luxray's death, so why is it different for Ash? And yes, I know that the writers can't just kill off their main character, but why even have to kill him to begin with? What purpose did that really serve to the plot, other than just to confuse the audience and make me hate this movie more? Before I forget, however, I have to talk about Ash's dream. I said that before, Marshadow helps Ash come to his senses, right? Well, let me get further context as to what happens. And this is another complicated scene to explain, so bear with me, cause it was confusing to watch. So after Ash blames Charmeleon for losing and tells Pikachu that he wished he never got him, Ash runs away into a forest alone. He says to himself that he doesn't need Pikachu. Marshadow appears and puts Ash into a trance as the rainbow wing starts to lose its color. In this dream world, Ash relives his life, but in the real world. There are no Pokemon here, and Ash goes to regular school with his classmates, Sorrel and Very. Ash realizes something is missing and remembers Pikachu. He is able to pull himself out of the dream and realizes he was wrong for saying how he doesn't need his Pokemon. There are a few things about the scene that I have issues with. The first thing is obvious, Ash being in the real world. Yeah, the scene feels so weird, like I get the point of it. Marshadow is making Ash dream so he realizes how much adventuring and being with his Pokemon mattered to him. The execution of this is the weird part. Did he really need to be in the real world for this lesson? Honestly, this is just another unnecessary scene that makes the movie more confusing than it already is. The next problem is the lesson itself. Ash did not need to realize how much his Pokemon mattered to him. He was angry with his Pokemon for losing the battle with Cross. The lesson learned should have been for him to take responsibility as a trainer and grow from the situation instead of shifting the blame to his Pokemon. And the final issue with that scene is how the rainbow wing loses its color. It's stated that it loses its color if someone evil is holding it. So was Ash evil in that scene? I mean, he is being an ass to his friends and his Pokemon, but he definitely is not evil. He's clearly very upset, but that should not equate to him being evil, or at the least, a bad person. Alright, here we are. Out of everything this movie does, there is something so bad that it outclasses everything I've listed so far. That is, the final battle of this movie. The climactic fight, Ash versus Ho-Oh, the thing that has been building up this entire movie. And the battle happens off screen. Yeah, the battle starts and it cuts away to Ash in the Pokemon Center defeated. Nurse Joy asks him about what happened and he casually tells her that he battled Ho-Oh. That's it. The whole objective of this movie was to battle Ho-Oh and we don't even get to see how the fight went. Bruh. You have got to be kidding me. Sitting through this movie was such a pain in the ass. After everything else, this battle was the only thing I was looking forward to and the movie decided to blue ball me. Fuck this movie. Alright, I'm done. Let's wrap things up. Well, after everything I said, hopefully now you can understand where I'm coming from. I tried to explain certain aspects of the movie that I personally would have changed, and while you may not agree with the direction that I would have taken the plot and characters, honestly, those changes are still far better than what we actually ended up receiving. It sucks because this film had the potential to be something great. I thought that without the restrictions of being tied with the anime's continuity, the movie would have had more freedom to tell a more unique story. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. In the end, Pokémon I Choose You is a heavily flawed movie. It has some good ideas, but they get buried underneath the mountain of bad ideas and terrible execution. Also, I just wanted to point out that Pikachu talks in this movie.
Why won't you get in your Pokeball? It's because... What the fuck? It's because I always want to be with you.
Yeah, just stop. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Again, I do want to apologize for the poor quality in this video. The original video got blocked by ShowPro, so this is an edited re-upload. I did want to give a big shout out to Nothing Happened and Noah the Pokemaster for leaving such insightful comments on the original video. Your comments will be lost, but never forgotten. Once again, I am xExotic, and thank you for watching my review of the movie Pokémon I Choose You. Until next time!